Hello everyone and welcome to How to Survive a Pandemic Apocalypse. Just doing this video because I felt like it. Completely hypothetical. Definitely not based on any current world issues. Absolutely coincidental. Cough cough, sarcasm, cough cough, COVID. Anyways, while all these doctor guys can tell you what you should do to prevent our impending doom, I don't think enough people are asking what shouldn't you do. So today I'll share my top 4 tips on what you shouldn't do in the case of a viral infection apocalypse by looking at the horrible strategies we used to use in the past. Number 1. Don't play with corpses. Okay, so our first story brings us to the bubonic plague outbreak. Because of course it does. What did you expect, not the plague? So in the 1200s, everyone's favorite horsey boys, the Mongols, were busy taking over the planet when, oops, they broke up. So skip forward about a century, and now one of these groups, the Golden Horde, owns a big area in Central Asia and East Europe. And in Crimea, the Mongols had been busy kicking out those dang Genoese Italians off their peninsula, who had been busy making colonies there. So in 1346, they started a siege of the Genoese port city of Kaffa. Reinforcements arrived from the east to help the Golden Horde, but they were all covered in these mysterious black bubbles of unknown origin. It was the plague. We all know it was the plague. Basically, the bubonic plague had been circulating around Asia for a while now, and it arrived just in time to murder half the Mongol army sieging Kaffa. The Mongols, now with an army of corpses, said, "F*** this, it's the Italian problems now," and proceeded to catapult the bodies over the city walls. The Mongols had to retreat, but unsurprisingly, the people of Kaffa started to get the plague. Not long after, some trading ships from Kaffa arrived in Sicily, and that's how Europe contracted the deadliest disease in human history. So don't touch dead bodies, kids. Or invade Crimea. Looking at you, Russia. Number 2. Don't stab yourself. Okay, so you know how someone slitting their wrist today is not a good thing? Well, in the ancient world, they would just be considered practicing good hygiene. So in bloodletting, the patient is cut into with a knife so that their blood can leak out, usually along the forearm. This practice was thought to cure illness, and was used very commonly from ancient Egypt where it originated, and then spread to Greece, and eventually the rest of Europe, until the 1800s when it was proven to be, well, idiotic. Ancient Greek physicians like Hippocrates came up with the four humors theory, in which the body is made up of four humors, or elements, that regulate things like personality and nature. They also believed that illness was caused by an imbalance in the humors, so you could probably see how this thought would easily allow for bloodletting. Oh, you say you have tuberculosis? Well, simple. We'll just cut open your arm and let all that extra blood spill out. In most cases, bloodletting actually worsened the patient's condition, as anyone who's ever scraped any would expect. Medieval bloodletting is also why barbers have that swirly red and white thing outside their doors. Yes, barbers were also bloodletters. I can just imagine having that awkward barber conversation while the barber drains all the blood out of my arm. Number 3. Don't stab yourself too. Electric Boogaloo. Sometimes I wonder about how it would be to actually live thousands of years ago. It just must have been so relaxing and peaceful. And then I learned about trepanning. Trepanation was a surgical procedure in which the patient would have a hole cut or drilled into their skull. It was very common, with about 5 to 10% of skulls from the Neolithic era having holes, and from all over the world. Modern historians aren't sure why people used to do this, but most excavations and writings suggest it was used as a medical service to treat people with head injuries or insanity, although some skulls from southern Russia suggest ritual purposes. Trepanation started in the Neolithic era, and was used up until the medieval ages where it died out. Is what I would like to say, but people are stupid. Now, let's play a little game I like to call, Who Thought Bringing Trepanation Back Was a Good Idea? Is it A, random crackpot from the 60s, B, John Lennon, or C, college professor of Bill Clinton? Wrong. The answer is D, all of the above. These nutjobs thought drilling holes in their heads would cure their depression and make them more energetic or give them nirvana. One person described it as the feeling you get after a couple of beers. Notice how none of these people are doctors? I also think it's important to note that John Lennon never actually got a trepanation because they thought he was already granted natural artistic boosting holes in his head when he was a baby, so he didn't need one. Alright, moving on. Yet in all seriousness, that would have made a good song. But other than some European stoners from the 60s, trepanation isn't really used often today. The closest thing in modern medicine being craniectomy, where they make a hole to make room for a swelling brain, or craniotomy, which is used for brain surgery. Number 4. I didn't think anyone would actually watch the video this far. So, number 4. Stay in school, kids. Wait, no, don't do that. Anyways, thanks for watching the video, guys. I know no one really watches these things, but in case anyone wants to, I'm going to leave a link, the first link in the description, to Feeding America. They're a charity that helps to feed people, because there's a lot of people who are losing jobs and, you know, stuff like that because of the whole coronavirus epidemic. So if you want to donate to that, I'll leave a link to that in the description. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, that's basically it for today. Thanks for watching. Bye.